Hollywood has been the hub for controversy, and with the new year upon us, there are some people walking in with shot reputations and destroyed careers. 2020 might bring some actors new opportunities, but for some people it will just hand them a blacklist with their name on it. We're gonna check out some actors that Hollywood won't cast in 2020 in today's video on Beyond the Screen. Thanks for coming back. I'm your host Joss. Be a friend and come say hi to us outside of YouTube. You can find our social media links down below. And don't miss out on the blooper reel and comment shoutouts that we show at the end of every video. But for now, let's jump into our countdown. Starting off our list, number 10 is Terrence Howard. If you missed all the drama back in 2008, the actor was fired from Marvel's Iron Man movie and burned bridges with pretty much everyone who was involved. Apparently, he was difficult to work with and also wasn't happy with his hefty pay offer, which was reported to be between $3.5 to $4.5 million. Yeah, I wouldn't be happy either with that much money. So he already had a sketchy reputation with Hollywood throughout the years, but in 2019, he made the announcement that he was actually quitting acting. He attended the Emmy Awards and shortly after did an interview where he said, "Oh, I'm done with acting. I'm done pretending. I'm just focusing on bringing the truth to the world." At the time of this video, he is still finishing up his movie called Selfie, so it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out and if he stays true to his word. But at this point, I probably wouldn't even want to work with him. Up next, number 9 is Eliza Dushku. She first made a real name for herself when she took on the role of Missy in Bring It On. From there, her career just completely took off, but came to a sudden end after she made harassment claims back in 2017. After working on TV series like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Dollhouse, Leap Year, she signed on to be a part of the series called Bull. But just after 3 episodes, she came forward saying that the producer, Glenn Gordon Caron, would make inappropriate comments about her in front of the entire cast and crew. Apparently, he made remarks about her appearance, he made a joke about and also made a comment about having a threesome. She filed a lawsuit, and after going through mediation with CBS, the company paid her a settlement of $9.5 million. She hasn't acted in anything ever since it was settled, which I think is completely wrong, so I'm actually not impressed that she's on this list. This is not good news to bear. Moving on to the number 8 spot is Clayne Crawford. In 2018, the actor was one of the biggest stars on Fox's TV series Lethal Weapon, but he was dismissed from the show for bad behavior, many people making claims that they did not want to work with him on the show. Videos were leaked later online showing 2 different on-set conflicts, one in which Clayne was yelling at the assistant director, and the other one showed a profanity-filled exchange with his co-star Damon Wayans. He did apologize for his behavior, but by that point it was already too late. So he ended up bashing Fox and Warner Brothers instead on how they handled the situation and said that they were blackmailing him with the videos for months. The only thing he's been able to book since then is a role in an independent film. So 2020 ain't looking too good. In spot number 7 is Monique. After she won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in 2010 for her role in Precious, things turned sour 5 years later. She made headlines after she started making serious claims to The Hollywood Reporter, saying that she was blackballed by the industry. She said that the director of the movie, Lee Daniels, had a problem with her because she didn't say his name during the night of the Oscar Awards, but he says that she demanded things that weren't in line with the movie's campaign at the time. Then, later down the road, in November 2019, she filed a lawsuit against Netflix for pay discrimination, alleging that she was offered lower pay than every other comedian. She was offered $500,000 for her special, which is just a fraction of what Amy Schumer and Ellen DeGeneres made for theirs. So basically, she's just getting into a whole bunch of beef with all parts of Hollywood. Cruising into number 6 is Jason Mitchell. He gained attention for his performance as Eazy-E in the 2015 movie Straight Outta Compton, which led to other big roles like his time on the TV series The Chi. He starred in the series from 2018 to 2019, but was let go after the news broke that he was dropped by Netflix. In May 2019, it was reported that Netflix dropped him from their movie Desperados, saying that he had inappropriate offset conduct. Not long after, he was dropped from The Chi and his personal agent. Some of his cast members made claims that he was inappropriate with them and often had issues with rage throughout the filming process. He of course denied the allegations and defended his case, but he probably will not be a hot commodity in 2020 for casting directors. Halfway through the list, at number 5 is Lori Loughlin. She faced legal charges in 2019 after being one of many parents who got caught in a nationwide college admissions scandal. Not only did she face a fine, but she also lost her entire acting career. The scandal was known as Operation Varsity Blues. How it works is that people would pay a scam artist named William Singer, who would work his magic and basically get them into a school or get them hired exam scores. Lori was accused of paying $500,000 to get her daughters, Olivia and Isabella, into the University of Southern California as crew recruits. Once the story broke, she was fired from the Hallmark Channel and from Netflix, the two networks where she starred on Fuller House and When Calls the Heart. She lost both TV series at once, which sucks, and we haven't seen her in anything ever since, and we probably won't be seeing her in 2020 either, which is a shame, because I really liked her on Full House. Moving down the list, we are at number 4 with Jussie Smollett. How could people ever forget his alleged Hollywood hate crime? If you don't remember this scandal that made headlines back in 2019, Jussie went to the hospital after being attacked by 2 males who were yelling racial slurs at him. It was reported that they poured a liquid substance on him before basically beating him so badly to a point where he was hospitalized. All of Hollywood and his fans were calling it a hate crime and wanted to seek justice. But in court, the truth came out, and turns out that the 2 male suspects were actually paid by Jussie to stage the entire thing. In the end, Jussie was charged for filing a false police report. He was immediately fired from his role on the hit TV series Empire, and as of right now, he is not working on anything for 2020. People are just probably trying to avoid hiring him right now. In our third spot is Roseanne Barr. She had her own TV series titled Roseanne, which ran through the years 1988 to 2018 with a total of 229 episodes. So you can imagine how devastating it was for her when she lost the entire show, along with her entire career. Throughout her long career, she's always been known for her unpredictable and unfiltered behavior, but she crossed the line when she sent out a racist tweet. The tweet has since been deleted, but it once referred to Valerie Jarrett, the senior advisor to President Barack Obama, as a child of the Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes. ABC called an emergency meeting immediately, and just a few hours later, her show was cancelled. It's probably safe to say that she won't be making a return to our screens in 2020, but rumor has it that she's planning a comeback tour, wanting to do a live comedy show, so we'll see how that goes. Taking over spot number 2 is Kevin Spacey. Since 2017, the sexual misconduct allegations against the actor have been heavily documented ever since actor Anthony Rapp first accused him of unwanted sexual advances. Following the claims, he was fired from his Netflix show House of Cards and has been appearing in different court dates ever since, after 30 more victims came forward. It was announced at the end of 2019 that all charges had been dropped at this point, so people started to wonder if he could be making a comeback in 2020. The charges weren't dropped because he was not guilty, they were actually dropped because a handful of his victims had committed suicide and 1 woman passed away from cancer. However, Variety released a public statement saying, I quote, "Just because all charges were dropped doesn't mean that many won't or shouldn't be wary of working with him again." That will be so messed up, let me just say that. We've made it to number 1, and we have Mollie Fitzgerald. I spoke about this actress in a previous video after she made headlines for being charged with murder. She took on the role of Stargirl in Captain America: The First Avenger, and she might have just lost any chance of being cast in a movie ever again. The 38-year-old actress was arrested and charged with second-degree murder for stabbing her own mother. Her mother was 68 years old and was found dead in her home. Mollie was jailed on a $500,000 bond, and her next court date is scheduled for tomorrow, January 9th. I'm getting anxious. We still don't know any details yet on the case, and it hasn't been confirmed that she actually committed the murder, but it kinda is looking that way. Either way, having murder charges on your record probably isn't something that casting directors are willing to look past. Plus, if she is found guilty, she will be spending 2020 behind bars, and many years after that. There's our top 10 list for today. Share your thoughts with me down in the comments. I want to hear from you, and show us some love by hitting that thumbs up button. While you're busy doing that, I'm gonna do some comment shout outs. Jarek Johnson says, Joss, have you ever almost died? If so, thank God you're still here. Well, thanks. No. I wouldn't say I almost died, but I was hospitalized on a flight home recently, and I legit thought that I was gonna die, but I'm okay. Beezer1225 says, Liam Hemsworth is a yummy man. This is true, he is a very yummy man. Michelle Carter says, Spacey's career came down like a house of cards. I see what you did there, Michelle. I like it. Soph N says, y'all should have more subscribers, you guys are amazing. Well, thank you. Unfortunately, I have no control over that, but you guys can help us get to 100K, because we are so close. On that note, make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already. You can also ring the notification bell so that we can hang out every day. But for now, just enjoy these bloopers. They come creeping behind my ears again. I'm tired. I'm a little like whoopy. I need some of your banana juice. Banana juice. Alright. Oh, that was so weird.
I was right on the clock. Oh.
This light is like possessed. It will just hand them a black. Mother. That we show. Okay, come on. Let's jump into our countdown. I'm pissed. I can't even afford to work with him. Silly me. Make sure you guys share your cots with me. Your cots. What?
Would you want to give a thumbs up?
What's up, you guys? Thanks for hanging out with me on Top 10 Beyond the Screen. I'm Joss Bedard. You can come say hi to the BTS team outside of YouTube. Our social media links are down below. We are doing a part 2 today of one of our lists. With the new year upon us, we are all a little curious to see which actors are going to rise up above the others and which ones are going to fade out of the spotlight. But based on scandals and controversies, there is already a list of people who will not get cast in 2020. Let's take a look at another 10 of them, shall we? But before we do that, just a reminder that we run a blooper reel at the end of every video and we do some comment shoutouts, so don't miss out on that because it is a lot of fun. Let's get started. Kicking off this countdown at number 10 is Liam Neeson. There is no denying that he's been one of the biggest actors in Hollywood for years now. But the actor caused a big debate in 2019 after he went on a rage and admitted that he considered a black man. During an interview, he spoke about his revenge that he wanted to get on a black man after someone close to him had been by one. He said, "I went up and down areas with Akash hoping some black bastard would come out of a pub and have a go at me or something, you know, so that I could kill him." People were outraged with his comments and said that he deserves to lose his position and career over it. But the big debate is what will happen for his future career. Many people chimed in online saying that he will have white privilege and will get away with it like nothing ever happened, while others said his career will never be the same again. What do you guys think? Let me know. Next up in the number 9 spot is Mischa Barton. She launched into fame when she was just a teenager after joining the cast of The OC playing Marissa Cooper. It looked like she was on top of the Hollywood world, but it all came crashing down when she was arrested and charged with misdemeanors for DUI and possession of marijuana. Ever since then, she's tried to continue with her acting career while going in and out of rehab for her addiction to drugs and alcohol. In 2019, her OG fans thought she might be having a comeback after being a new cast member of The Hills reboot, but the reality show wasn't as successful as it was anticipated. Her last acting credit was actually in 2016 for an independent film. By the looks of it, 2020 most likely won't be her comeback year, but I am personally still rooting for her. Moving along to number 8, we have Chris Brown. He first made a name for himself as an R&B singer, but also built an acting career through the success and fame from his music. But both sides to his career took a massive hit when he pleaded guilty to felony assault charges after beating his girlfriend at the time, Rihanna. You would think that admitting to something like that would end everything for you, but somehow he was able to push through after the scandal faded out. But in 2018, he ran into more trouble with the law after sexual assault allegations came to surface involving a night of partying at Chris's home. It didn't help that throughout the years of all of these allegations, he would have public violent outbursts during live interviews, like the time he flipped out on Good Morning America and like smashed a window with a chair. He just doesn't seem reliable or in the position to be cast in anything anytime soon. Cruising into number 7 is Jake Paul. The world knows him as one of the biggest YouTubers in the industry alongside his brother Logan Paul and fake wife Tana Mojo. But before his fame on YouTube, he was actually a Disney star acting on the TV series Bizaardvark. The majority of his original YouTuber followers actually come from his time spent working as an actor with Disney. But his erratic and crazy YouTube videos ended up getting him fired from the show. His neighbors were calling the cops on him for disturbance, and his content was getting more, let's just say, not Disney approved. After his character was removed from the show, he started to twist the story and say that he actually left the show himself and that he didn't get fired, and that all his fame came from YouTube, not them. I don't think casting directors are in any rush to cast him, is all I'm gonna say. Sliding into our number 6 spot is Demi Moore. She became a teen icon in the 80s, and by the 90s she was one of the most sought after actresses in Hollywood. But in more recent years she had a fair share of drama that has all put a stint in her career. The cheating allegations from her 8-year marriage with Ashton Kutcher, her struggle with alcohol and drugs, an alleged eating disorder, and even allegations of sexual assault against her. A video showed 19-year-old Demi Moore passionately kissing a boy at this birthday party. There's pictures and videos in the link below, and it's kind of f***ed up. Looking at the big picture, her acting career has faded in comparison to what it used to be. Her last big role was in the TV series called Animals back in 2018. It's hard to say if Hollywood will really write off one of their biggest stars, but we got to learn more about her side to every story in her 2019 memoir novel called Inside Out. We are halfway through the list at number 5, and we have Macaulay Culkin. As far as child stars go during the 90s, he was definitely at the top of the list after having a breakout in his career for his performance in Home Alone. But then he left the industry not long into his success and fame, and every time he has tried to make a comeback, it just has not been successful. For years, he was caught in the middle of different controversies like his struggle with drugs, his close connection and support of Michael Jackson, and the fact that he just openly hated Hollywood and fame. He returned to the big screen for the first time in many years in 2019, taking on a role in the movie called Changeland, but it received mixed reviews and he's just been laying low ever since. For the most part, it seems like he's just content with laying low, so it might be a mutual feeling. Casting directors might not be interested in hiring him, and he might not be interested in working for them. So, it all works out. And at number 4 is Felicity Huffman. You know things are bad when I type your name into Google and the first headline title that pops up is "Released from Prison." The Desperate Housewives star was involved in a college admissions scam and got caught paying $15,000 to boost her daughter's test scores. It was also proved in court that she had made arrangements to pursue the scheme for her other daughter, but then backed out of it. She was arrested at gunpoint at her Los Angeles home and was later released on a $250,000 bond. Both her and her husband, William H. Macy, pleaded guilty and served 11 days in federal prison. They were both released in October of 2019, so I doubt she's even submitted herself to any castings for 2020 yet. And even if she did, I don't think they would even take a second look at it. That's what you get for not teaching your kids to study their books and go to school like everyone else. In the 3rd spot on our countdown list is Edward Furlong. He was a Hollywood heartthrob when he was just a teen, gaining instant success after playing John Connor in Terminator 2 back in 1991. But everything was lost because he made some poor life choices and found himself in trouble with the law on multiple occasions. For years he has spent time in and out of rehab for substance abuse, and at one point he was even arrested on suspicion of both felony and misdemeanor domestic abuse. It got so bad that in 2001 he was suspected of an overdose. Throughout his sobriety journey, he has attempted to star in various projects, but none of them allowed him to have that huge comeback. Even reprising his role in the 2019 Terminator Dark Fate reboot didn't do much for him, and Paramount refused to comment about anything that had to do with his legal and drug issues. Sniping that number 2 spot is Katherine Heigl. The beautiful blonde actress was taking a lead in every movie in the later 2000s. She was starring in movies like Knocked Up, The Ugly Truth, and 27 Dresses, but even outside of rom-coms, she was also known for her time on the hit TV series Grey's Anatomy. But she ended up on the Hollywood's most hated list after making comments about some of her movies. She spoke about Knocked Up and said that it painted females in a negative light and called it humorless and uptight. And then she went on to diss her time on Grey's Anatomy to a point where she even pulled herself from her Emmy nomination for her performance on the show. It also didn't help that Forbes reported her as Hollywood's most overpaid actress. Her character was eventually written off Grey's Anatomy, and even though she's gone on to act in some other TV series, it's hard to believe that she'll be making her way back onto the big screen in 2020. We've made it to number 1, and taking this spot is Aziz Ansari. He's known for his role as Tom Haverford on the series Parks and Recreation, and also for the creator and star of the Netflix series Master of None. But his career in both acting and comedy took a punch to the face when he was accused of sexual assault. A woman he went on a date with accused him of assaulting her at his apartment after they went out for dinner. He responded with a public statement of his side of the story, saying that it was consensual. It has caused a huge debate since coming to surface, some people supporting his side of the story, and other people think that it's wrong that he wears a Time's Up pin and supports that movement. He hasn't acted in anything ever since then, but he is trying to make light of the situation in his Netflix comedy special by opening up the show with his side of the story. Not an apology, he's not denying he didn't do anything, he's just saying how it made him feel, which has kind of left everyone with mixed emotions. How about you guys share your emotions and what you're feeling with me down in the comments below? I want to know what you guys think of this countdown list. In the meantime, let's check out some comments from some of my other videos. Teddy the Godfather says, "Undercover Boss hit me hard. I really wanted that one to be real." Same! I was so bummed. Like, I was genuinely upset by that. Gemma Lowe says, "I would absolutely love to see you and Charlotte, Jared, Johnny, or even Landon on The Amazing Race. That would be the best team ever." Honestly, I think like we would do really, I don't know actually. I like to think that we would do really well, but then when I just said it out loud, I'm like, I don't know how we would do, all of us together. Chris thinks we'd be the first team gone, but I mean, I'd be willing to try. I think it'd be a lot of fun, at least. Teresa Young says, I love watching your list. You seem to have some of the more diverse ideas for lists. Well, thanks so much. That means a lot. Honestly, guys, let us know in the comments if you guys ever have ideas of lists that you want to see. Just let us know. Kara Chambers says, thanks, Joss. You just ruined my life. Well, that's what I'm here to do. I am ruining one life at a time. I'm sorry, but reality shows are not always real. And I was probably just as sad as you were. Alright guys, that is our list. Make sure you guys leave a like if you haven't already, and also subscribe. We are so close to 100K. You can also keep watching more of our videos. Just stay on the screen. But for now, enjoy those bloopers. Oh, we're starting. Okay. Ready. This hair. That hair? White privilege. For show. California, here we come. Bang, bang, bang. California. You mentally unstable, bro. Hold on, my shirt is sliding down. I can feel it. No short skin for none of these videos. My mama raised me right. I don't know. I lost my spot because I was preaching the Lord Jesus above. Wow. I'm just bitter because I'm still paying off my school loan. Tell me someone who has like a really bad substance abuse, like real bad, and looks hot. None. Yeah, hold on. Those damn little rascals. Bastards fooled me. We have a new host on the channel. This woman in the hallway talking on the phone.
The comedian who recently starred on the second season of Netflix's You
That's not gonna save you, okay? Nothing can.
He's trying to get in my head.
was first accused of misconduct by Twitter user Simone Rossi.
Welcome to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. I'm your host Johnny Rogers, and in today's video we'll be talking about some actors who have both recently and not so recently canceled their own careers. It's pretty safe to say that Hollywood prefers working with people that have little to no scandals attached to their name, and therefore you'll be hard-pressed to find any of these celebs starring in big production Hollywood films in 2020. Although before we get into that, if you don't want to miss another daily video from us, make sure you tap that subscribe button to join our notification squad. Now with any further delay, let's get right into today's list of the top 10 actors Hollywood won't hire in 2020. In at number 10, Thomas Gibson. After 11 seasons with the show Criminal Minds, actor Thomas Gibson was fired from the CBS drama. Thomas appeared on 2 more episodes, but those were used as a way to properly cut his character of Aaron Hotchner out of the show. His firing came after the network conducted an internal investigation and found that Gibson had kicked a producer on the show. He was allegedly known for his violent outbursts with the assistant director as well. But instead of firing him back then when that happened, they just sent him to anger management classes. Apparently that and a suspension though didn't stop his volatile behavior while on set. They've been protecting this guy for a long time as well. In 2013 he was arrested in downtown Los Angeles on suspicion of drunk driving after his car ran through a barricade during a marathon event. And after getting fired from this long-running TV show, it's hard to imagine anyone in Hollywood wanting to hire him again. In at number 9, Jake Paul. This one is a bit of a no-brainer, and especially after he was arrested for being involved with the looting that took place in Arizona. Although he denies these charges, he certainly was part of the unlawful assembly and trespassing. Jake hasn't acted in anything produced by Hollywood since at least 2018 and has mainly focused on his YouTube content. But I highly doubt that he would be able to restart a career as an actor though, just based on his reputation alone. As I mentioned earlier with the Thomas Gibson point, not a lot of casting directors want to attach their name to troubled talent. Jake Paul not only has been known for stirring up controversy, but overall he seems like he would just be kind of unreliable, especially considering the amount of focus required for acting in a big Hollywood production. I don't even know if he wants to act anymore, but I feel like his fate as an actor has already been sealed for him, unless he's able to find, someone crazy enough to work with him, and then fund the whole thing himself. In at number 8, Leah Remini. Leah Remini is a great comedic actor and has gone on to act in a multitude of Hollywood productions after her successful run with the show King of Queens. Unfortunately for Leah, she was also raised with the teaching of the Church of Scientology. After many years with the organization, she started to realize how corrupt everything truly was. Taking a break from acting, she began focusing on just exposing them and all of the terrible things that they do behind the scenes. Although Scientology has a giant presence in Hollywood, boasting huge members such as Tom Cruise. So when you turn your back on the church, you're also potentially turning your back on Hollywood. The Scientology celebrities, if you will, are only members that we're just hyper aware of, but there could most definitely be directors or producers involved that just aren't very public about it. So you gotta figure that they won't hire her out of fear of backlash from the church itself. In at number 7, James Franco. No matter how many accusations come out against James Franco, he seems to just shrug them off and keep acting. So far he has 2 productions scheduled to be released in 2020, but as time goes on and more people begin speaking out, we could see the end of his career. The only way I could see him continuing to act is by paying for most of the production himself. After allegations of inappropriate behavior and assault came out, Franco fired back at them with his own legal team. A lot of these allegations were coming from former students of his, and his response was to say that they were hungry for attention. The plaintiff's attorney said that Franco was using an aggressive effort to position himself as the victim and therefore smear the reputation of the survivors that have come forward. This is a common tactic used by perpetrators of wrongdoing, and only time will tell if he is indeed innocent, although he does have a long track record of just creepy behavior that he's still yet to respond to. For example, the underage girl that he was trying to meet up with through Instagram. When you have an actor that has accusations like this dating back to 2014, it's hard to imagine wanting to hire them for anything. In at number 6, Amber Heard. Although it has still not been confirmed as to whether or not Heard will star in Aquaman 2, it's safe to say that it's the last thing that audiences want. Amber Heard proved how terrible she was as an actor when she staged her assault by Johnny Depp. Not only was Depp fired from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise for her op-ed piece in the Washington Post, but he faced a ton of defamation from news outlets as well. As more and more information comes out about the incident between these two, it's going to be harder and harder for her to refute them. She's already said so much stuff publicly about the case and has been caught lying multiple times. She said that she would donate the divorce settlement, and she never did. She said that Depp left a mark under her eye from his assault, but then it turned out that she was makeup for that. And then to make matters worse, Heard was also caught on tape admitting to abusing Johnny Depp. And there's just so much controversy surrounding her name right now that there is no way that anyone in Hollywood, again, wants to attach themselves to her. Because that's what you do when you hire someone like Amber Heard. In number 5, Ansel Elgort. Ansel Elgort, known for his roles in Baby Driver and The Fault in Our Stars, is now facing allegations of assault that he vehemently opposes. The woman said that she was only 17 at the time, and Ansel was in his 20s when he assaulted her. Along with posting her detailed account of what happened, she also encouraged other victims of his to step forward. In response to this, Ansel was gaslighting to the max. Instead of directly addressing what she had claimed, he decided to change the narrative to being a bad breakup that she just couldn't handle. All this does is allow his fans now to pile on this poor girl and say that she's just chasing clout. I do believe that much like the situation with Johnny Depp, we need to wait to hear the other side before judging the court of public opinion. That being said, he did really use some manipulation tactics in his apology to make himself feel better about the situation. Unless definitive evidence comes out proving his innocence, I don't know if Hollywood will ever cast him again. In at number 4, Danny Masterson. Danny, who is best known for his role as Stephen Hyde on That 70s Show, is recently charged with 3 counts of rape. So far, there have been 3 victims that have stepped forward with separate incidents that occurred between 2001 and 2003. All of the alleged crimes are believed to have taken place at his home in the Hollywood Hills. If convicted, he's looking at a sentence of 45 years to life in a state prison. For those of you who don't know, Danny is also involved with the Church of Scientology. After the charges were laid against him, Leah Remini took to Twitter with joy that the victims of Scientology are finally being heard. This is most definitely an insinuation that the church had previously covered up what Danny had been doing in order to protect their image and his image. Although we cannot confirm these claims, it does seem like something that they would do. Back in 2017, he was fired from the Netflix show called The Ranch amid these allegations, and he is still denying any of the claims made by these women. But with that much heat on him, it's unlikely that his acting career will continue. In at number 3, Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett used to be known as the musician Jamal Lyon on the Fox drama series Empire. At the start of January, he had gone to the Chicago PD to report that he had been assaulted in the early morning hours. He claimed that 2 white men wearing MAGA hats attacked him after uttering racial and homophobic slurs. Although after the police had investigated the case, they found that Jussie had paid 2 Nigerian American brothers who worked as extras on Empire to help him stage the attack. Near the end of February, he was indicted for disorderly conduct for allegedly paying those brothers to stage a fake hate crime and therefore filing a false police report. This scandal, however, ruined his chances with acting. In June of 2019, it was announced that Smollett would not be returning to the show even after his charges were dropped. Well, they reached a deal with prosecutors, I should say. He had to pay his $10,000 bond and do some community service. However, it will be a very long time before we see him back in Hollywood. In number 2, Chris D'Elia. Actor and comedian Chris D'Elia just recently was part of the Netflix show called You. In the show, he played a comedian that was also grooming underage girls. Turns out he's been method acting this whole time. D'Elia has been accused of grooming and attempting to solicit nude photographs from girls. A woman named Simone tweeted out a screenshot of her alleged interactions with Chris, which began a thread of other women sharing their interactions with him as well. The stories are all pretty horrific considering that these girls were all under the age at the time that Chris had sent these messages to them. On top of that, people close to him like Whitney Cummings have spoken out against him. With the Me Too movement in full force, you'll be hard pressed to have any female actor wanting to work alongside him ever again. He'll just be labeled unsafe. Last but certainly least, in our number one spot, Kevin Spacey. Kevin, for a long time, was by far the most demanded actor of his generation. His library of roles was huge, and his fame made the actor seem untouchable. Then actor Anthony Rapp came forward and accused Spacey of forcing himself on him when he was only 14 years old. Following that, 15 other men came forward accusing Spacey of a similar experience. His career was pretty much canceled at that point, but Kevin found a way to make things even worse for himself. In his apology, he took a moment to come out as gay, for which the LGBTQ community just denied any association. As a result of these accusations, Spacey was fired from the Netflix show called House of Cards and was removed from the film All the Money in the World. Safe to say that the only acting work he'll be doing is, well, on his YouTube page. Once a year, oddly enough. And that has been the top 10 actors Hollywood won't hire in 2020. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to our editors for all of your hard work. If you enjoyed this video, then show us some love by tapping that like and subscribe button. Plus, don't forget to leave us a comment down below with your thoughts on today's list. And for more videos like this one, all you gotta do is tap that playlist when it pops up. From Top 10 Beyond the Screen, my name is Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy. Ansel Elgort, known for his roles in Baby Driver and The Fault in Our Stars. The woman said that she was not only 17 at the time, she was only 17. Okay. The woman said that she was only 17 at the time, and Ansel was in his 20s. And Ansel, I'm just gonna do it again. God damn it. Then an actor, I should say.
2020 was a rough year for anyone in the spotlight, as cancellations were a dime a dozen. But some cancellations were so severe, they might actually have an impact on the future careers of these stars, specifically if they're going to be cast in the new year. I'm Mackenzie, you're watching Beyond the Screen, and today I'm going to be listing the top 10 actors Hollywood won't hire in 2021. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a like below and subscribe to see more. Alright, starting off number 10, we have Lea Michele. Lea Michele was exposed in the light of the George Floyd protests when multiple former Black Glee cast members spoke about how she was microaggressive towards them, with one actor stating that Michele made her, quote, first television gig a living hell, and even made her question a career in Hollywood. After even more people spoke out against Lea, she decided to apologize with a long note to social media, but there were a lot of issues with that apology, one being that she used the word perceived, making it seem like a non-apology, with the statement reading, quote, the responses I received to what I posted have made me also focus specifically on how my own behavior towards fellow cast members was perceived by them. And obviously after a huge scandal like this, it's not hard to assume that studios will be distancing themselves from Michele, especially since claims of her being a diva, stuck up, and just generally rude on set are not new. And at number 9, Chris Pratt. The cancellation of Chris Pratt really started when a tweet went viral telling people that one Chris had to go. And out of Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pine, and Chris Evans, Chris Pratt was labeled the worst Chris in Hollywood. And for people like me that never really knew much of backlash against Chris Pratt, it was a bit of a shock, until people started to expose things from his past. One of the main things Chris has been called out for is being allegedly homophobic and attending a church that is notoriously anti-LGBTQ. Actor Elliot Page has also called out Pratt in the past, in one tweet writing that Pratt's church is, quote, infamously anti-LGBTQ in a 2019 tweet, with Pratt responding, quote, nothing could be further from the truth. People even started to say that Chris Pratt was a Trump supporter, even though he's never publicly supported Trump. And even though Chris Pratt has continued to deny these claims, he was still canceled on Twitter. And as for his career, it doesn't seem that these claims will be affecting it much. However, if backlash against him ever becomes too big for the studios to handle, it wouldn't be crazy to think they would cut ties. And at number 8, Vanessa Hudgens. So I think we all know about her coronavirus blunder, and even though she apologized, it still could negatively impact her career, especially because her image before was pretty squeaky clean. For a refresher on the scandal, Vanessa was on Instagram Live when coronavirus was first getting serious, and when talking about the virus, she said, quote,
but like, it's a virus, I get it, like, I respect it.
She didn't understand why we had to stay home because the disease might be deadly, but death is inevitable for everyone. Saying, quote, even if everybody gets it, like, yeah, people are gonna die, which is terrible, but inevitable. Basically insinuating that we shouldn't take the virus very seriously. And since we had really no true idea of how deadly the virus was at that time, people obviously began to point out how ridiculous and insensitive those comments were. She of course apologized, saying her words were taken out of context, but even with context, the comments were just really ignorant and just honestly made like no sense. I watched it back like 5 times and I was like, what is she trying to say? I really didn't understand. And honestly, the worst part about all of this was that these comments were made after Coachella was canceled. So she was literally saying all this because she couldn't go to an overhyped music festival. And at number 7, Sebastian Stan. Sebastian Stan was actually canceled because of his girlfriend's actions, which I think might be a first in terms of cancellations. This all went down when an old photo of her and a friend dressed up as geishas with the caption, quote, Asian night was unearthed. And people were mad that Stan commented on the photo and clearly saw it, but didn't make any mention that it could be cultural appropriation. People then flocked to Stan's social media accounts, insisting he denounce the photo of Oniva. Stan blocked some of them, only making the cancellation worse. And when people noticed that they were being blocked by the actor, the hashtag, quote, Sebastian Stan is over party started trending. One tweet in particular went viral, saying, quote, Sebastian took his time to speak on BLM, went to Ibiza during a pandemic, went clubbing, didn't wear a mask when he was out, and now his girlfriend got exposed for being a racist. Now that people are calling them out, they've started blocking fans. And obviously backlash like that might make a big difference in casting decisions. And at number 6, Amber Heard. Amber Heard was exposed like none other when leaked audio showed her being verbally abusive to her ex, Johnny Depp, as well as admitting to being physical with him as well. And before this audio was leaked, public support was more so on Heard's side, and Johnny Depp was the one being blacklisted from Hollywood. But now that the truth seems to be out, public support has swayed to Johnny Depp. And the audio Heard admitted to hitting Johnny and mocked him, saying that no one would ever believe his side, making it clear that she was not the victim in any way, and she seemed to be the one that actually abused Johnny. Fans were excited at the prospect of Johnny getting justice in court, but sadly he lost his court battle with the Sun. But regardless, people don't trust Amber Heard anymore, and people that supported her in the past are now turning. Also, fans want her out of the Aquaman franchise, with the petition to have her removed currently having over 1.7 million signatures and growing fast. And it's really not hard to see her getting exiled from Hollywood when this is all over. Halfway number 5, Ellen DeGeneres. Although Ellen is more known as a TV host than an actor, she has appeared in a few movies, most notably as Dory in Finding Nemo. And she's also produced countless projects over the years. But because of her toxic workplace and two-faced scandal, her days in Hollywood might be numbered, especially since most people have not accepted her apology. And this is clear from Ellen's ratings. And USA Today reported that her show's ratings plummeted because of the scandal, with the ratings currently being 38% down from last year. And obviously everyone is attributing this drop to the scandal. And she's not even laying low either, with her recently getting in a scandal over a subscription box that she launched, with unhappy customers reporting that the items were cheaper than expected and not recommending it to other people. And at number 4, Charlie Sheen. The reason Charlie Sheen won't be hired isn't specific to 2020, but he just has such a bad reputation for numerous reasons at this point. No one would risk hiring him. Charlie was the highest paid actor on television when his show, 2.5 Men, was dominating the ratings. But now he isn't well known for his acting, but rather his public removal from the acting world. During the filming of 2.5 Men, Charlie became such a handful that he was kicked off the show. He then started to get memed online when he started saying that he had tiger blood and was, quote, hashtag winning. Do you guys remember that phase of time? I honestly completely forgot about it until I read this article and I was like, oh yeah, he used to be like the old DJ Khaled, you know, DJ Khaled with all those things. Anyway, that's my tangent. After all of that, people assumed that he'd lost his marbles, and his addiction to substances was taking over his life. And based on his terrible professional behavior and likelihood of going off the rails, no studio will ever trust him again as their leading man. And at number 3, Evangeline Lilly. The Ant-Man and Lost star turned a lot of heads when she made controversial comments about the coronavirus. This all went down on Instagram, when she wrote in a caption that she wouldn't self-isolate as her freedom was more important than the pandemic. And of course, after selfish comments like that, the backlash was swift. 10 days later, she decided to apologize for the comments, saying in the apology, quote, I thought I was infusing calm into the hysteria. I can see now I was projecting my own fears into an already fearful and traumatic situation. But the scandal also got backlash from other actors too, like Sophie Turner. And although Turner didn't call it Lilly by name, she posted a video to her Instagram story saying, quote, stay inside, don't be effing stupid. Even if you count your freedom over health, I don't give an F about your freedom. You could be infecting other people, other vulnerable people around you by doing this, so stay inside, guys. It's not cool, it's not big, and it's not clever, and that's the tea. And after that, I wouldn't anticipate seeing Sophie Turner and Evangeline Lilly in a movie together anytime soon. And at number 2, Tyra Banks. Tyra Banks got in a lot of trouble this year when old clips of her on America's Next Top Model surfaced. And in the clips, she's seen talking down to the women and giving bad advice and just being a hypocrite. One viral clip shows Banks telling contestant Danielle Evans that the gap in her teeth is, quote, not marketable, and she should close it to secure a CoverGirl contract. Then a few cycles later, Tyra told a different girl to widen her gap, making her a hypocrite. In response, Banks tweeted, quote, been seeing the posts about the insensitivity of some past America's Next Top Model moments, and I agree with you. Looking back, those were some really off choices. Appreciate your honest feedback, and I'm sending you so much love and virtual hugs. And since these clips are old, Tyra hasn't felt much heat from them, and she is still hosting Dancing with the Stars as of now, but I doubt she will be involved in anything, model related for a while following the scandal, especially not judging anything model related. And in at number 1, Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh was caught up in some backlash in June of 2019 when she was called out for being racially insensitive when she was younger, with people calling her out for wearing cornrows in the past. In a statement she posted to Instagram, she admitted to wearing cornrows and Rastafarian attire when she was younger in a way that, quote, was respectful in how I was using it. Adding, quote, "Stupid doesn't even cut it. I was uneducated. I was unread. I could not dismiss the actions I bought into years ago. But I believe that we who are blind to such things must acknowledge them and recognize them as our faults, our ignorance and our white privilege, and I apologize profusely that it took this long." And because of how sincere the apology was, most people seemed to accept the mistake and gave her room to grow. Alright everyone, that's all for the list today. Let me know what you're thinking about it down below. Were there any that I missed? But before I head out, I'm going to shout out some comments from the Britney Spears update. So Booth said, "Dad should just stop sponging off Britney and get a real job." Could not agree more. Then Dean said, "I feel like he wants the money more than having a healthy, happy relationship with his daughter." That is like abundantly clear. Who would even go to court over this? Like if she wants you off the conservatorship, just get off it. Not that hard. Then P. Monica said he could at least seek a compromise by reducing the restrictions on the conservatorship, so she can have more independence and make more important decisions if he wants to repair the relationship with his daughter. Couldn't agree more. I mean, Britney's mental state might not be, 100%, but she can still make basic decisions about where to spend her money. It's so ridiculous. I mean, they were even fighting her being in the conservatorship in general. Like, there's kind of a lot of reasons that she doesn't need to be in it, but that's, we don't know enough. That's for the courts to decide, but it's just the whole thing is upsetting. Alright guys, that's all for the list today. Thanks so much for sticking around. If you made it all the way here, if you liked the video and want to see some more, make sure to like and sub below. I've been your host, Mackenzie Smith, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.